As fall sports get underway, local orthopedic surgeons see more young athletes deal with injuries to their knees, ankles, and hips. Dr. Jeffrey Van Thiel with OrthoIllinois says athletes in sports can reduce the risk of injury by making preparation and recovery part of their routine. Van Thiel says proper warm-up include that combined flexibility and strength plays a key role in preventing injuries.
We tend to see people kind of when they haven't been doing all those things because they come in, they have discomfort, and then we start having this discussion about, well, what do you like doing? What problems are you having with that? What pain are you having with that? And how can we prevent that from happening going forward? And oftentimes that's structured around a conversation of how can we make you feel better right now, but how can we build in strength, flexibility, nutrition, sleep, and all these other things that come into play